Welcome back everyone to Diaper Free Diaries. My name is Lauren Stamper. I'm a certified Go Diaper Free coach. So today we're diving into something, a little bit tough for new parents, infant colic. So does EC or elimination communication relate to it? So we're gonna dive into a paper, a study called Elimination Communication as Colic Therapy. So everyone has a different definition of what colic is. So it's not just a fussy baby, it's really excessive crying in those first few months, and it peaks around 2 months of age. So it can look like inconsolable crying, kind of a distended tummy, and even difficulty defecating. And colic has an impact way beyond the baby too. So parents have extreme stress, especially new parents. There's an increased risk of shaken baby syndrome. So even postpartum depression can be triggered. So it's definitely something to take very seriously. And the thing is, it sounds like doctors don't always know what causes it. So it affects up to 40% of infants, but the cause often remains a mystery. So that's really where this paper is pretty interesting. It suggests that the frequency of the bowel movements could actually be a major factor. So if you think about it, a tiny baby who isn't pooping regularly, their little belly gets distended and uncomfortable, and maybe, that discomfort is what's leading to those colic episodes. So that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. It also makes you wonder how aware babies actually are of their bodies. So we really underestimate them. So there actually are studies showing clear changes in heart rate, breathing, and even brain activity during urination, especially during sleep. So that suggests a level of awareness that we don't always give babies credit for. If they're aware of peeing, it's logical to think that they might be aware of needing to poop too. So that brings us to elimination communication. So how does that practice fit into this picture? So EC is all about tuning into your baby's really subtle cues, and we're talking specific type of crying like squirming or fussiness, even like a certain look in their eyes. So caregivers who practice EC, they become experts at recognizing these cues or signals as their baby's way of saying, hey, I gotta go. So it's like understanding a whole nother language, like cracking the code to understanding what your baby's needs are. And what's interesting is that this paper points out EC isn't something new, like a new fad or something. It's a practice that's been around for centuries, and in many cultures still practices today. So it's really fascinating how something so traditional is being rediscovered and validated by modern science. So how does it actually work in practice? When a caregiver recognizes a signal happening, they hold their baby in a supported squatting position. So think about that. Squatting is the natural human posture for elimination. It makes you wonder if our toilets are actually working against us. There's actually studies on adults that show that squatting actually increases the anal and erectile angle, which leads to more efficient and less strenuous bowel movements. Think of the squatty potty. So it's very likely that this is also the case for babies. Can you imagine poop lying down? I can't, and I don't think babies like to do that either. So helping babies eliminate regularly and comfortably could be the key to reducing these colic symptoms. So that's the hypothesis. We definitely need more research, but there's growing anecdotal evidence from parents who report, like less fussiness and crying in their babies. So logically speaking, how does it fit into their busy lives? It sounds good, but it also sounds potentially pretty difficult, like new parent overwhelm. Okay, so the important thing to remember is EC isn't about this, unattainable, ideal perfection. It's about meeting your baby where they are and finding a rhythm that works for both of you. You can totally do it part-time. So offer the potty during specific times of day, like right after waking. That might actually make a huge difference. So it sounds really a lot more manageable thinking about it like that. So it's a gradual shift than like a total lifestyle overhaul. And what's really cool about this whole thing is that it kind of challenges some deeply ingrained assumptions in Western parenting. So what do I mean by that? So we often kind of view babies as these helpless beings who need to be constantly managed and controlled. And it suggests something totally different. It sees babies as competent communicators. So they're capable of participating in their own care. By recognizing our baby's innate capabilities, I think, we're fostering a sense of respect and trust. So right from the beginning, empowering both the baby and the parent. Okay, let's pause here for a second. So take a deep breath and think about what really stood out to you about EC so far. So For me, it's like this whole idea of changing how we see infant crying. So instead of it being something we just have to like put up with, we can see it as a way that they're trying to communicate. They can't talk, but they're showing us with their bodies. So we're rediscovering this old language that helps us actually listen to what our babies need. Would you like more cheese? More cheese? Case in point, my 12-month-old, he can't speak right now. He can't say any words, but he just signed food. I don't know why this is his sign for food, because it's also the sign for potty. But anyways, he was just communicating with his body that he wanted more food, more cheese. So let's be real. There's going to be times when you miss signals and accidents may happen. Either they have a wet diaper or they have wet underwear. Is that okay? Of course it is. It's a learning process for both the parent and the baby. We call that a miss in the Go Diaper Free world. These misses are not failures. They're just chances to learn and figure out what works better. So I think a lot of parents are scared of failing. So we put so much pressure on ourselves to do everything perfectly. It's so important to approach EC with curiosity and compassion for both your baby and yourself. Every family does it differently. You just have to find what works for you, your baby, and your family. Got it. Dude, baby. So it's also important to remember that you are not alone in this. If you have the Go Diaper Free book, it automatically includes access to the private support community. It has other coaches, and so you can get advice and support. If you're having a hard time, if you're going through like a potty pause, you can ask any question that you want. There's a lot of overlap between EC and attachment parenting. EC can be a really powerful way to strengthen that attachment by being there for your baby and paying attention to what they're saying. So you're telling them, I see you, I hear you. He's smiling. And that message, kind of like knowing they're heard, can really affect how a baby grows and develops. So it helps them feel safe and secure. So that shift in perspective can go way beyond just like going to the bathroom. It's about really trying to understand our kids, seeing them as individuals with their own needs and preferences. This is a study, by the way. Would you actually try EC? So it works for some families, it doesn't work for others. The important thing is that now you have more information to help you make the best decision for you. So we've looked at the science, the practical side of things, and how it all fits into our culture. Whether or not you do EC, this video shows that babies aren't just tiny humans who need our help, they're active participants in their own growth. And that change in how we see them can really be life-changing, not just for them, but us as parents too. If you're interested in trying out elimination communication, check out the links below on how to get started. There's a free easy start guide, or if you're all in, get the Go Diaper Free book. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of elimination communication and how it relates to colic therapy. And I'll see you next time.